Bada bangs! You've made it this far. Welcome to another episode of Portuguese Online. I am your host, Joe Lyon, and the reason I am congratulating all of you is because you've made it to this episode, Simple Sentences. So the thing about learning a language is making a cake. In order to make a cake, you need ingredients. You need sugar, and you need flour, and you need butter. But once you have these ingredients, then you have to know exactly how to put them all together to make a delicious pastry. That's kind of what I've been trying to do with you. You've been receiving the ingredients, you've been receiving verbs and the pronouns and the adjectives and articles. And now with all these ingredients, today we get to make the cake. Also, the other thing that makes this fun is that when you start forming sentences, you are forced to learn more words. And it's much more enjoyable learning words in this way than it is just looking at a dictionary and memorizing them. Today we're going to form 4 simple sentences. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, tabula rasa. So the first sentence I'm going to give you is going to actually be in English, and we're going to analyze the different parts of it. I opened the door. It is a very simple sentence, but it can be used very often. So what are the different parts that we know of the sentence? Well, we know that that's a pronoun, we know that that's a verb, we know that that's an article, and we know that that's a noun. So let's look at this first part, open. We know what open is in the non-conjugated sense. We know that that's abrir, and we know that I is eu, it's pronoun. So we need to conjugate abrir for it to match the eu. And if you remember correctly, we take away the ir and put in the o. So therefore we have eu abro. Now I was going to tell you when we talked about verbs, but I think here is a better place of saying it. Because this is conjugated and you already know who is speaking, you really don't need the eu. You can simply say abro and everyone knows that it is I open. The eu is optional. I mean, putting it in, there's nothing wrong with that, but taking it out, there's nothing wrong with that either. So now we come to the door. If you remember from previous lessons, we know that door is porta. And when we see a noun, we look at 2 things. We look at its gender and we look at its pluralization. Now, because porta ends with an A more times than not, it is feminine. And because we're only talking about one door, it is singular. So it is simply a porta. And now if we put it together, we have our complete sentence. Eu abro a porta. Or if you're just lazy and you don't want to say eu, you can just say abro a porta. And that's it. You've created your first sentence. If you went to Brazil right now and you said that sentence, every single Brazilian will understand you and also wonder why you would say a kind of a random sentence to a stranger. Shall we do another one? Oh, let's do it. Now I'm going to write it on the whiteboard. While I do that, I want you to pause the video and I want you to write it down and I want you to translate it on your own. Once you think you have it, once you think you've translated correctly, I'll go over it and we'll see if you're right. Now it is he closes the doors. So now we look at closes. Now this is where it gets interesting. What if you were to see this and you have no idea what closes means? This is where it gets fun. This is when you can look up something or you can actually talk to someone and learn a word that way. This is actually a very effective way of learning Portuguese words. So if you were to look it up or ask someone, they'll probably say the unconjugated form, and that will be fechar, which is to close. Remember the CH sounds like a sh. So now we look at the pronoun. We look at, what the sentence is about, and we see that it is about he. He, as we learned before, is Eli, and to conjugate the verb to match the pronoun, we need to say Eli fecha, and you're halfway done. So now we look at this and we see the doors. Well, door, like we said before, is porta. However, now we have more than one door. We can't just say porta because that just means one door. We need to say portas, which is the plural form of door. We just add an S right to the end. And now we need the article that means the, that is feminine, and that is plural, which is us. And there you go. Eli fecha as portas. Now, because fecha could mean você, it could mean Eli, or it could mean ela, it's probably a good idea to put Eli in there so people know that it is a he. However, if you've been talking for a while and everyone knows that he is, the thing that you're referring to, you don't really need to use it. This comes with practice, so don't worry about it for now. I would suggest continue using the pronoun. Just keep putting it in there until you get used to it, until it comes natural to you, and then when you feel that you're prepared for it, just take it off. Eli fecha as portas. Congratulations, your second sentence. Okay, let's try another one, this time a little bit more complicated. Okay, the next sentence we're going to translate is, you drive a blue car. Now before I write it, we're going to do the same thing as we did last time. Write it on a piece of paper, try to translate it the best you can, and then when you're done, push play again, and we'll see if you're right. So you're looking through this and you realize drive. I don't know that word. So you either look it up in a dictionary or you ask a native speaker. And the dictionary or your friend says that to drive in the unconjugated form is dirigir. I dare you to learn that one. Dirigir, this is how it's spelled. So we know that the sentence revolves around you. As we learned before, you means você, and now we need to conjugate the verb in order to match the pronoun. And because it is an IR verb, it ends up being dirige. So você dirige is you drive. Now we have this right here. We have a blue car. Let's start with the noun. Car, as we learned before, is carro. Now we don't just have any regular car. We have a blue car. We have an adjective. And if you remember correctly, the adjective in English comes before the noun, but in Portuguese it comes after. So instead of saying blue car, we say car blue. Now blue, well, we didn't really talk about that color either, so you have to talk to a native or look in a dictionary, and it means azul. Notice that the last letter is an L, and L is within luzir, so therefore the stress goes on the last syllable. And because it ends with an L, and it doesn't end with either an O or an A, it doesn't have a gender, and therefore you don't have to change it to match the noun. And now we are talking about a car. We're not talking about the car or some cars or that car. We're talking about a, and because it is masculine, we learned before that a masculine is So now we have você dirige carro azul. You drive a blue car. And that's all you have to do with that one. Well, that was fun. Let's do another one. This time, let's have one in Portuguese, and we translate it into English. Alright, nós usamos esses livros velhos. And do keep in mind that the LH is an I, so it's velhos. So we have nós. We know that that's a pronoun, and we know that that means we. So something is happening with we. Also, we can look at this and we know that amos is the conjugated ending for nos. So we look at this and we're not exactly sure what the unconjugated form of this verb is, but we do know that it is at least a us, and then the ending that's been conjugated. And because it's amos, we know it's an ar, it's not amos or imus. So if we translate it back, we have the verb usar, which is simply to use. So we have to use that has been conjugated to the pronoun we, so in English that would just simply be we use. Okay, so we have that out of the way. Now let's look at the last part. We have esses livros velhos. Well, one word that should jump out at you is livros. That's a noun. The noun livro means book, and because there's an S at the end, we know that it's plural. Livros means books. We also have an adjective right here, velhos. Now the S at the end of it is just there because it needs to match with the noun. So really the adjective is velho. And if you've been studying like I've been telling you to, you would know that velho means old. Now in Portuguese, velhos is after the noun. However, we just switch it to the front like it is in English, and we have old. So now we look at this one. We have esses. Esses, 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 esses. Ah, esses! That's an article. So it has an E at the end, so therefore it's masculine. And the reason it's masculine is because the noun is masculine. And the masculine forms of this and that is you have SG, SC, and Akeli. And Akeli means that it's far away. So it has to be either SG or SE. And if I remember correctly, this and these has T's. It does not have a T, so therefore it's not this or these. It has to be that or those. And what do you know? There's an S at the end. It's plural, and therefore we use those. So when we put it into our sentence, we have, we use those old books. And there you go. You've translated your first Portuguese sentence into English. What was that? You want to do one more? Okay, we can do one more. So we're going to do the exact same thing as we did last time. I'm going to tell you the sentence, and then I'm going to have it flash in this, little nice screen, have it written out. Pause it, try to translate it into English the best you can, and then push play again, and we'll go over it. So here's your sentence. Eles vendem alguns cachorros espertos. Alright, let's see how you did. So, I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker than the other ones because the other ones you were just getting used to. Now you know what we're talking about. So we have eles, that means they. Now this they can either mean that group of guys or that group full of guys and girls. Now we know that because of eles we have an eng at the end of vending. So if we take that out and put in the ending, which in this case is either an IR or an ER, we either have vendir, which is not a word, or vender, which is a word and means to sell. So from that we know that they sell. Well, what do they sell? Well, let's continue. So you have here that that's masculine and plural. You have here it's masculine and plural. You have here that it's masculine and plural. So let's just accept that all of these are masculine and plural and just get on with it. Alguns, you were taught, means some. Now you have cachorros espertos. If you studied, you would actually know what those two are. Cachorro means dog, and esperto means smart or intelligent. And that's your sentence. They sell some smart dogs. Doesn't really make much sense, but it was the best sentence I could think of. And there you have it. You can now speak Portuguese. Kind of. Now, granted, Portuguese is not that simple. There's still a lot of complicated things, but you can understand a majority of it. Open any book and try to translate as many simple sentences as you can. Find any book or readings that you can in Portuguese and try translating that into English. You're not going to get all of it. In fact, you're probably not going to get most of it. But you are going to get a couple, and that's pretty exciting. If you don't think that's exciting, show a friend, and you'll understand. Also, don't just limit this to what you read. Also, try to say simple words. Language is not just the written word, it's also the spoken word, so speak as much as you can. If you know a friend who speaks a little bit of Portuguese, or even speaks it fluently, have them say simple sentences very slowly, and try to get what they're saying. And finally, learn as many words as you can. If you come across a simple sentence with words that you don't understand, don't give up and don't worry about it. Look them up, ask a native, and learn more words that way. It's actually the best way to learn words. So again, pada bangs, congratulations. You are doing amazingly because you've gotten this far. There's still a couple movies after this that we still need to go through, a couple more things that we need to learn, and because of that we have another vocab list. So the next video we're going to go over questions, and because of that your vocab list has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words, and all of them are question openers. So here it is for you. Como, which means how, quanto, which means how many or how much, quando, which means when, quem, which means who, que, which means what, onde, which is where, and porquê, which is why. So again, continue practicing your simple sentences. Also learn these next words before the next video. And again, good job. Congratulations. My name is Joe Lyon. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Ciao.